Okay.
Hey there, greetings everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Plan B Success. We have Regan McGee with us, who's the chairman, CEO, and also the founder of Nobul. And what Nobul does is it empowers home buyers and sellers by giving them more access, control, and transparency when it comes to transacting, buying or selling a home. So let's welcome Regan and find out his story from him. So welcome, Regan.
Thank you, Rajiv. It is absolutely great to be here.
Awesome. So before we get into Nobul, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I am in the Toronto area in Canada. I grew up here. I was born and raised here. I've spent most of my life in this area, always kind of as a little bit of an outsider. So for me to start a disruptive company is sort of in line with what people would expect from me. I was too young when I went to college, university. I flunked out a couple of times. I did end up going back and finishing it and graduated, and I ended up graduating with great marks. But it took me 6 years. Fortunately, I was still only 21 when I graduated from undergrad. I then worked in primarily in the investment business, and it was a business that I just kind of went into it because I thought it was sort of expected of me. It seemed like something a lot of my friends were doing, and if you went to the right schools, and you could kind of create a career for yourself where you made a lot of money, and it was something that I thought was important to me. I realized very quickly that that was not what I wanted, but it took me a while to kind of figure out that that's not what I wanted to do. So throughout my 20s, I worked in the investment business. Yeah, it was something that initially I worked for larger companies. It wasn't fulfilling for me. I didn't get to help people. And I didn't, at night I wasn't in a position where I really felt like I'd done a lot of good for the world. And that became really obvious that was something that was really important for me. I started my own business in my late 20s, just right around when I turned 30. And I was working in real estate investment and development. And I got my real estate license in my late 20s to trade the fund that I was helping to manage. It was interesting because I was really trying to help people, and it felt like I was a real outsider in the industry. Everything in the industry was set up to sort of help people maximize their commission, maximize what you take home. There were all these seminars that everybody was around that were going to, and they're all about like protecting your commission, protecting your fees, and it wasn't really about adding value or helping people. And it just never really sat well with me. It wasn't the life that I wanted to live. I had some very serious health issues in my early 30s that made me reconsider the life that I wanted to live. I was in and out of comas for a year. I was told multiple times that I might only have a couple of weeks to live. It was very difficult for my wife and for myself. There were probably about 3.5 years, almost 4 years of very difficult times for me from a health perspective, and where things were extremely uncertain. That was the part of, I guess, the catalyst for me to pivot and build the life that I wanted. I founded Nobul 6 years ago, and I was actually in a rehab hospital recovering from major neurosurgery when I founded my company. I came to the realization that life was short. During the time that we're here, if I don't live every day with purpose, then I'm not living the life that I want. Yeah, so I fundamentally pivoted, and I built the life that I wanted, and that was 6 years ago.
That's phenomenal, Regan. For the listeners, right? We probably went through all of that in a couple of minutes, but I'm sure you went through a lot of turmoil, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of thinking about it, opportunities where you could have said, "Hey, let's just give up and go back and do what we've always done versus continue to trudge on. So, your initial career that you talked about in terms of investment banking, how long did you do that?
So I was in the investment business from, I started when I was in university, like summer jobs, that sort of thing. I mentioned I got kicked out of school. I had to take a year off. I was, as I said, I was way too young when I went to university. I skipped some grades, and it was not something that I was too immature when I went, and I hadn't figured out enough yet. And so I was, after 2 years of university, I was 18 when I started working at a company called Sun Life Financial. It's a Toronto-based investment company, financial company, and started in the mailroom, opening mail, very, very unglamorous work, making very, very small amounts of money. And it was really hard. It was something that I think, in retrospect, was one of the best things that ever could have happened to me. I grew up a lot. It was really difficult work. And if I hadn't had that year, I got promoted and got to do in more interesting things while I was there. But it was a real learning experience, and that was tough. So that was when I was 18 at that time, and I stayed in the industry until I shifted into the real estate side of the investment business when I was 28 or 29 rather, so 2009, and then in beginning of 20 or end of 2013, I guess I started to have really serious health problems. And the end of 2013 was, when I started to kind of reevaluate things. And Rajiv, as you said, we talked about it in a couple of minutes, but it was the 4 years of my life where I was, in and out of comas, major neurosurgeries. Like it was, I had to learn how to walk again twice in 4 years. I had to learn how to swallow, hold a pen, like really basic stuff, doing up shirt buttons. Like I graduated from a wheelchair to a walker to like ski poles to, walking without anything. And we talked about it in a few minutes. It was a very long, very difficult 4 years. And there were many times where I could have quit, essentially.
You were actually, reconstructing your life, right? The basic foundational elements that a lot of people take for granted. So while you were going through that, where did you find the energy, the purpose, the motivation to found Nobul?
I think I'm going to be totally honest. I think I've got a big chip on my shoulder. And I think by being told all the things that I couldn't do, I think that was part of what motivated me. I was told, I'm never going to do this again. I'm never going to do that again. My wife, when I was in a coma, was told I was going to be a vegetable and she's going to be taking care of me for the rest of, our lives. And I think just being told over and over again that I, wasn't able to, that's what really motivated me. I always had drive. I always had a fire in me, I guess I could call it. And this just kind of threw gasoline on the fire. This made me, it really awakened something inside of me. And it was really hard. I had to fight for everything. I had to fight to, literally sit up in bed, in a hospital bed. Like I had physiotherapists who had a huge impact on my life. Doctors obviously were important. They literally saved my life. Physiotherapists, I think, were the ones who helped me realize that I needed to lead a life of purpose. They were the ones that were encouraging and kind and decent people. And being surrounded by good people that were, and they're really underpaid for the work they do. Being surrounded by, nurses and physiotherapists and people that are, genuinely doing good for the world and helping people, seeing that up close and personal and having a huge amount of respect for them made me reevaluate the life I was living. And it made me think about, what have I done with my life? If I were to die today, what are people going to say about me? Who have I really helped? What's my legacy? How have I made the world better? And those weren't questions that I was asking myself before and when I was 30 years old, I didn't ask myself that. And that is what led me to the point where I wanted to live a life of purpose. And I was just determined. At that point, I was determined to build the life that I wanted from nothing. And I mean nothing. Like, I was literally, when I founded my company, I was in a hospital recovering from major neurosurgery, being told all these things I could never do. And I had basically no money at that point. I'd spent everything. I'd been in the hospital for years. I was just absolutely determined that my life was going to be a life where I was going to help a lot of people and make a positive impact on the world. And nothing was going to stop me.
So, you had been in real estate before, and then with Nobul, you're back into real estate. So what's the difference between your real estate career before versus what you do through Nobul?
So what I was doing before was providing returns for investors in real estate. So developing townhouse projects, low-rise, apartment buildings, low-rise condo developments, things like that were, producing positive internal rates of return that were significantly higher than most investors could get virtually anywhere else. So, I was providing a service, and these were people, people's retirement accounts and stuff. So, it's not like I was, I wasn't out hurting people, but I definitely wasn't thinking every night about, wow, look at how much I helped this person's retirement account. Like, that's not what it was. I was in the job kind of so deep in the weeds that I didn't really have perspective on my life in terms of, living with, like, trying to add value and add purpose. Like, it just, it was a very different, motivation for me. After when I founded Nobul, I guess, and since, my mission has been to help people get the best possible value, service, equality, accountability when it comes to their single biggest asset for most people. So most people, their single biggest asset is their home. Most people, the biggest fee they ever pay in their life is real estate transaction fees. And the average person does it. They move more than 5 times. So, it's a huge amount of fees when you add them all together. And there's very questionable value associated with what's being returned for those in return for those fees. I saw firsthand. I do still have a real estate license. I've had one for, I think, 12 or 13 years now. And I saw firsthand, working inside brokerages, there are some really good people that are real estate agents. Like, there's the public a lot of the time doesn't agree with that statement, but it is true. There are great people that have real estate licenses that work as real estate agents. There are also some terrible ones, and those are the ones that the public seems to be very aware of because they make such a big impact with some of their deplorable behavior. And so, I like being in the brokerages when I got my real estate license, I had to join a brokerage, and walking around the brokerage, I'd see agents writing their own reviews online, writing testimonials on flyers that they drop off at houses. Like, it was all total BS. Like, it was just like they were designing basically systems to scam people. And then I would see other people within that brokerage that were honest, decent people that were trying to provide good value and weren't actually getting any deal flow. So the one of the things that real estate agents don't really talk to the public about is the job of being a real estate agent is actually getting deal flow. The 80% of agents do less than 4 transactions a year. The agents that are the top producers that dominate neighborhoods, sometimes they're terrible, but they dominate the neighborhood. So everybody thinks, oh yeah, this is the top agent in my neighborhood. And then, if you actually ask the person, well, why is this the person the top agent in your neighborhood? They'll say, well, they've got the most for sale signs, or they've dropped off the most flyers, or something along those lines. But they can't actually talk in terms of real data. Agents often, or unscrupulous agents, I should say, often pull together data points. They cherry pick data to try to create a narrative to show that they're number one. I mean, how many agents, are number one? How many agents have you seen with flyers saying, I'm number one, I'm number one, I'm number one, right? And it's all total BS. So the agents that do well are really good at customer acquisition. And some of them are pretty terrible people. Some of them have teams where you meet the head of the team once when they sign your contract and you never see them again. And you're giving them typically 5 to 6% of your single biggest asset. I mean, the amount of work that it takes to buy a home and own a home and maintain a home, it's huge. And, for somebody to do a couple hours worth of work for 5 to 6% of that it's crazy. And at the same time, as I said, there are phenomenal real estate agents that don't have their own, marketing teams or systems in place. And they just need high quality deal flow. They need transactions. They need clients. And the brokerages don't really provide that. Like there's nothing that provides that. There's lead generation platforms where you're buying the same leads as every other agent and they get sold over and over again. And, the person you're calling, by the time you're calling them, they're saying, stop calling me, like they don't want to be harassed. And then there's advertising companies where agents buy to advertise. And then they see, if you're public's browsing a property and then they see like the agent on a listing on, some of the big platforms you would think of when you're browsing real estate, the agents have paid to be there and, they'll have given themselves, 2,000 5-star reviews. So, the consumer sees it and they go, wow, this person's great. But the reality is that they don't know what they're getting. And then the other agents that are trying to do it kind of the more kind of genuine, honest way aren't getting any deal flow. So, I mean, one of the things that my platform does is it allows high quality agents to showcase that they're high quality because we show real data, real user reviews. They get an honest shot at real business with no upfront costs or no subscription fees. And I know this isn't a marketing thing for my company, but
we
absolutely.
Tell us more about you mentioned buyers and sellers, right? So how's Nobul structured and what does it offer on either end?
So if you're looking to buy or sell real estate, you can come on our platform, put in basic information about what you're looking to buy or sell. And then all the different agents from all the different brokerages can compete for your business. And they compete on 3 categories. One is commission. So how much they're going to charge you. And typically what you'll see on our platform is significant savings for the consumer, like 20, 30% of the biggest fee they're going to pay in their lifetime. The second part that they compete on is the overall service offering. So what are they going to do for you? Home staging, virtual tours, those sorts of things. And the third thing is track record. So, list to sale price ratio, average days on market, typical property type that person sells, neighborhoods they've sold in, average price. So you as the consumer, you get the best possible agent paying the lowest possible fee with the most services. And we literally have thousands of brokerages on our platform, and each brokerage obviously has many, many agents. So, as a consumer, you get the same agents you get anywhere else, except you pay lower fees. You have real accountability that our platform creates, and it's all part of the contract. So all these add-on services that some dishonest agents will add on, like the home staging and virtual tours, et cetera, they're part of the contract. So as the consumer, you get a clear contract for what am I actually paying for? What am I going to get in return for all these fees I'm paying? And if you as the consumer aren't happy, we swap out the agent. So if you're getting provided terrible service, we swap out the agent. So you as the consumer get the best possible experience. On the agent side of our marketplace, we spend as a business, we spend millions of dollars a month getting high quality deal flow for real estate agents. So, and we ask for no upfront costs or subscriptions, and we help them close transactions. So they only pay us success fees. If they close transactions, they pay us a fee out of the money they're making. So there's no risk to them. So we're from the, for the supply side, it's free money. We're literally giving agents free high quality deal flow that we spend millions of dollars a month gathering for them. For the demand side, being the consumer, they get the best possible agents at the best possible prices with real accountability. So it's a win-win for both sides. And that's the life of purpose that I live now is, and we are consumer centric. I'm not going to pretend like we're agent centric. We're consumer centric. The reality is good quality agents do phenomenally well on our platform. So we are helping them out. But ultimately, we're helping people with the most important asset that they have. And so that's how I approach every single day. And that's, Rajiv, that's fundamentally different from how I lived my life 10 years ago. So yes, I have been in real estate for a long time, but I'm in a totally different part of the industry with a totally different mission.
And what geographies is this applicable to? Is it US and Canada?
Yeah, we're across Canada. We're in 36 states in the United States. By the end of 2022, we would expect to be in all states as well as across all of Canada. So all 50 states and across all of Canada by the end of this year. That's where we're expecting to be. And
you mentioned you've been in business for about 6 years now.
Yeah, initially it was really, really hard. So that pivot from, the life that I was kind of, in that I wasn't particularly enjoying to where we are today, it took a huge amount of work. 2016, we had no revenue. My wife and I spent almost all of our savings. 2017, no revenue, spent like the rest of our savings. 2019, as a company, we had about $100,000 of net revenue. 2020, we had about 20 million of net revenue. 2021, we had 37 million of net revenue. This year, we're on track for 85 million of net revenue. Everything I'm giving is in US dollars. Next 12 months, we're on track for 120 million of net revenue. And those, to be clear, that's our company's take. That's the fees that we charge real estate agents, essentially. It's not the value of properties sold or anything. In terms of value of properties sold, we're at I think about 7 billion in terms of sales on our platform. We're becoming a business of a noteworthy business. Like we're a disruptive company, and we're disrupting the biggest industry in the world. And we're the only company in the world doing what we're doing. So it's this really hard work and this life of meaning is it's funny. It's turning into a highly profitable business with phenomenal sales that and it's amazing when I think about 10 years ago, maximizing fees and commission and all that versus today living a life of giving to people and service to others essentially. I guess like I'm now in a position where we're making 100 times what I was making 10 years ago, even though I'm focusing on giving to others, which is interesting.
Absolutely. So, just talking about your company and the model that you have, it is a very disruptive model. What's been the barrier to entry for the competition to step in?
Well, we do have patents filed in Canada, the US, the EU, and the UK. They're technically still pending, but we've gone through a lot of the questioning and everything, and so they're process patents on our overall business. So that is certainly helpful. The other, noteworthy things along that line are the industry is too big to be winner take all. It's way too big. The total attainable market it's over $5 trillion a year. So it's not winner take all. It's going to be there are going to be multiple companies that are all successful with less than 10% market share on our fully built out ecosystem. So that includes insurance and mortgage and everything else. We would be the biggest company in the world. We'd be bigger than Saudi Aramco. We'd be bigger than the Bank of China. We'd be the biggest company in the world with less than 10% market share. So it's not winner take all. There will be several successful companies in the space. There's no question about that. We are first mover though. So having first mover advantage is definitely helpful. The team that we have is unparalleled. My leadership team, and this is just my senior leadership team in my C-suite, has had more than 20 multi-billion-dollar exits or go public transactions. So we have a team that has done this multiple times before. We're so far ahead, it would be very difficult for someone else to catch up. The acquired knowledge we have from the last 6 years is something that even if people try to reverse engineer and rip off what we're doing and stuff, which we've seen, some people try to do that. Let's say they could rip off what we've done in the last 6 years, and it only takes them 6 months to do it. Well, 6 months from now, we're going to be 6 months ahead of where we are today. And so, they're going to be constantly playing catch up. Other companies in the space, if they were to try to pivot from, being an agent-centric lead generation platform or being an agent-centric like advertising platform or so anything like that, it's impossible. Like if you look at, do incumbents ever really pivot and succeed when there's been a paradigm shift? And the answer is almost never. It does happen, but it's almost never. In terms of like an upstart coming along, they've got a lot of catch-up work to do, and it's too big to be one to take off. That's and then there's patents pending and stuff too. So
awesome. Awesome. And in this short 6-year journey, what do you believe has been the impetus to grow both on the agent side as well as on the customer side? Any specific techniques you used in order to attract the supply and demand?
Interesting question. So on the supply side, being real estate agents, marketplaces like Amazon or Airbnb or Uber, they have to spend a lot of money getting their suppliers. So some customer acquisition costs for them are on the supply side as well as the customer. They're Uber spends a lot of money like getting drivers and managing them, and like it's quite a lot of work. And I have a lot of respect for what the company they've built. Airbnb, same thing, finding hosts and managing all that. It's again, I have a huge amount of respect for what they've built. For us, it's kind of like cheating because we have the phone numbers, the email addresses, the mailing addresses, and all that for every single real estate agent in North America. So every one of them has already put up their hands and said, I want to make money in this business. The phenomenal thing for us is we only need about 30 agents per market to have a successful marketplace, as long as we're offering 30 realtors from different brokerages, different levels of experience, different backgrounds, et cetera. So when we look at cities that have 60, 70,000 agents just in that one city, and we need 30, not 30,000, but 30. And maybe that city is 10 markets, we're talking a few hundred agents that we need out of, 30, 40, 50,000. So we don't need a ton of agents. So the supply side of our marketplace is really, really easy. Again, we're spending millions of dollars a month getting them high quality deal flow. No subscriptions for them, no upfront costs, no hidden fees. They're only paying us transaction fees when they close the deals out of the money that they're making, and we're helping them close those deals. So the biggest challenge for us on the supply side is there's just too many. And we do derank real estate agents every single day so they don't get more deal flow if they're providing bad quality service to the consumers on our platform. And the reality is, if some of these are big producers and they say, I sold 150 houses last year, who are you to derank me? And we say, we respect you, good for you, you're doing business, phenomenally well for making yourself money. We have a different mission. And so we will, if you're not doing the job that we're asking you to do, the reality is we have 1.5 million more real estate agents right behind you that are willing to take high quality free deal flow. So from the real estate agent's perspective, the supply side, that's covered. And then, as I said, high quality agents, we give them more and more deal flow, and they're thrilled, right? Like we're transforming their lives. The demand side being consumers, if nobody knows about us, then it doesn't matter how good our product is. So we do spend money on customer acquisition on the demand side. We haven't really seen a ton of network effect. We're starting to see it. So people that have had a great experience and they tell their friends and stuff, like we're starting to see that. But we use digital ads and, we do spend money on that side of the business. The thing is with the digital ads as well, it's really predictable. So we have a predictable return on advertising spend and a predictable customer acquisition cost. And it's predictable in individual markets at scale. I mean, we're in over 100 markets. So like it's really predictable. So in terms of building like a real business, being able to predict your, the value of what you get back from a customer versus your cost to acquire that customer gives you a phenomenal amount of ability to have like foresight into your future as a company. So we assume on our platform that we get no referral business whatsoever. The reality is we do get some, and we are starting to see that happen more and more. But yeah, we have to tell people. The biggest challenge on the demand side, being the customers, is people think it's too good to be, actually on both sides for that matter, is people think it's too good to be true. So realtors, when we tell them we're spending millions of dollars a month to get you high quality deal flow for free, they think it's too good to be true. What's the catch? It's a scam. You're going to ask me for my credit card number. You're going to ask me for, which we don't. We're going to ask them for something. Like there's some hook that they don't see yet. So they think it's a scam at first. That's the biggest challenge on the supply side of the business. On the demand side, they also think it's a scam because they go, wait, hold on. You're getting the best agents from the best brokerages that are going to provide the best quality service, and I'm going to pay way less money. And I'm not, and it's all free. Like I don't pay for any of this. It's a scam. What's the catch? So the biggest hurdle we've had is both sides think it's too good to be true. And if it's so good, why has nobody done this before? Why aren't there 50 other companies doing this? Like that's, which is a good position to be in. Like it's great when both sides think this is so good, like it's too good to be true. It's a good position. It's a great position for us to be in.
Absolutely. Well, Regan, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for sharing your story, very inspiring, and the work that you're doing through Nobul. We wish you the very best on your growth journey, and we look forward to keeping in touch. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Rajiv. I really appreciate your time, and I love what you do. As I said earlier, I think it's phenomenal what you're doing. I think inspiring people to take control of their lives and live a life of meaning is. There's nothing better, and I have a huge amount of respect for you and what you're doing. Thank you very much for having me on.
Thank you very much.
Bye.